Right, welcome back to Bloodstock 2015. We're backstage with Tuomas from Korpiklaani.
Yes.
And it's just a couple of hours ago since you did your bit on the main stage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, how did it go for you?
It honestly it was really an excellent show for us. Like really, it was an amazing thing to see that simply everybody showed up. That someone was saying that all the shops and cafes and joints were empty in the whole festival area. That everybody came, and to have that at 2 o'clock in a day,
Yeah.
that's just amazing.
Yeah.
And we just did 2 festivals in Switzerland, and we've had crazy hours flying, 4 in the morning and stuff like that, and we haven't been sleeping for 3 days. And then, all of a sudden you find yourself there on the stage with full of smiling faces around. So it
Does
really
that give
was
you a lift?
Yeah, it was truly a special show. Yeah.
Yeah. But as you mentioned there, I mean, you're no stranger to the festival circuit. Does it get a bit draining on your energy after a while, all this travelling?
Yeah, sometimes, especially the flying and the early flying outs and that especially, like when you finally come into a festival, everything's cool, but sometimes the sleep deprivation and all of that downsides, trying to catch a couple of hours sleep in an airplane, all
Not
those.
easy.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's like one of the downsides, but a show is always a show, and there's something unique to every festival.
Sure.
Actually, last night in Switzerland we were playing in a folk festival, and we were the only metal band there.
Really.
And it was just a beautiful festival with all kinds of medieval activities over there, and so it was nice for a change.
Yeah. I mean, you say a metal band, but obviously, I mean, you've got plenty of roots in the folk, traditional folk side. So
Absolutely.
yeah. Has that always been there for you from childhood, the folklore, and how does that affect when you're writing lyrics, etc.?
Well, more or less. Like as a child, personally, I was just like I was mostly into classical music, and I actually picked up the violin myself. Like I asked my parents to get me a violin, and it was not until my teenage years when I started feeling that playing notes that someone else has written is not adequate to me. So then started improvising and going to different genres. Like Napalm Death was big on me, like that time. I actually even had a hardcore trio with cello, piano and violin playing hardcore, 30-second songs and stuff like that. So but actually I was got deeply interested about the mythology and the original heritage of the ancient Finns only when I moved out of Finland. Like I went to New York to study in '98, and there I started to understand what is unique in my background, and became more interested about it.
Yeah. So was it a case of you were able to look at it only when you were standing outside? Or?
Exactly. The classic thing that you never saw your hometown until you stay away too long.
Exactly.
So.
Now you said, I mean, you're in the middle of a very busy touring schedule at the moment, including some October dates for Heidenfest. That looked quite a special lineup from what I was reading on that. So you've got Fintroll on there and Winterstorm and bands
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So that must be a great lineup to be part of.
I hope so. We've been touring quite a lot with Trollfest lately from Norway, and that's a lot of fun to tour with them. They are in a way they are like-minded. They are crazy in right way, and professional in a right way, and it's a good combination.
Absolutely. Now, if we can turn to the current album, I mean, it came out earlier this year. It was not a long gap since Manala, but it was sort of 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah, 2.5 or something like
So
that.
did you come at it from a different angle this time, or?
Yes, there were several reasons. Like Korpiklaani is quite famous for releasing an album per year. But there's been some changes in the band. First of all, we've been touring more than ever. And when I joined the band in 2012, I went right into the studio. I met the guys in the studio for the first time. And then when we started touring in April, a year from that, we actually had 4 European tours, Australia and China and New Zealand, South America and a US tour within 1 year.
It's crazy, isn't
Yeah.
it? Crazy.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why it took more time. But also, this was different. Like we spent a lot more time with the folk arrangements than ever before, and we actually found a new balance with metal and folk in this album that we feel that this is the right sound, that this is where we want it to be. And you know, there's an accordion solo in the album, a couple of them. There's like 5 violin solos in the album, so the balance has shifted with this new album to be more inhalated with the folk and metal. That there's like a constant conversation with the elements happening.
So sort of flowing from one to the other all the time.
Yeah, and that they really blend in, and that's I think we are all really proud about that we finally found the sound that we've been looking for. It's maybe not so much different from people who've seen us live many times, but it is certainly different from the previous albums.
And would it be fair to say that perhaps you've sort of changed the image of the band slightly this time, and sort of toned down perhaps the sort of face makeup, etc., or has that been a sort of natural progression? Or
Well, I hope the image would change a little bit, because it's not anything that we are. It's not like we are letting go of the past and totally renewed. That's not what's happening. Like, we are still the same band. We are still throwing a party. We are still you know, making a lot of fun. Like, fun is still the main element. But I think it's kind of sad that people have missed the beautiful mythology that's behind all the previous albums too. Like, there's a lot of amazing material there, and the backgrounds of the text are just, you know, you could make a PhD out of those songs. You know, it goes so deep, and it's also together with the partying, because our culture is pretty heavily related on alcohol. And it's not a modern thing. Like, also in the ancient times we had fertility festivities, fertility for the nature, for the crops to grow, to get rain and to get the ground nourished, but also fertility in terms of getting babies and and procreation going. And beer was a major thing on those. There was a village brew that everybody, you know, it was a ritual how the brew was made, that everybody had a designed role in the beer making in the village so that it comes out right.
And each village would have a different.
Oh, absolutely,
brew,
absolutely, you know. And it's like, so our culture is full of that kind of alcohol-related big mythology
And
things.
not just the alcohol. I mean, if you go back to those sort of times, every village was totally self-sufficient.
Exactly,
All contained. Everything they needed was within that village. Bakery, brewery, everything.
Yeah. And it's also like in the ancient times, spiritual things were not divided from the ordinary life. They were mingled together in a most fascinating way. Like you know, for example, women were not allowed to touch the hunting equipment of men. and there were certain rituals if that if a man wanted, he could get some female energy to his hunting gear to get some female wit to go along with it, you know, all sort of things like that. But the funny thing is that when women were not allowed to touch the hunting gear, that was based on spirituality, you know. It was based on like, but the practical sense too, you know. Don't mess with this stuff, you know. Like this is mine,
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
So there's the practical and the spiritual is together there, and it's not only about, you know, men stuff, but it's like it goes everywhere. It's just simply everywhere. Like it's fascinating how many links you can find with things. Yeah.
Absolutely. So after this weekend now, what are the immediate plans for the band? Obviously, you're still touring. Will you turn your thoughts to writing perhaps in the new year?
Well, we've actually right now, while we've been on the road, we've opened up the discussions because we have some really nice songs were left out from the Noita album, so we're going to start out rearranging those and well, not rearranging but arranging them, and then also there are a couple of songs that we didn't get started with, so we actually have demo material waiting for us already that we are starting to lay our hands right now.
Excellent.
But it's a busy touring schedule.
Brilliant. Well, you're a very busy man today, I know, but it just remains for me to say thank you very much indeed for your time. It's very much appreciated as always, and it's so glad to have you back in the UK and
thank you.
maybe back soon.
It really is a pleasure to be here. Like I've been saying this in all of the interviews that we haven't been in the festivals in the UK for a long time, and it's such a warm welcome that we're getting. So I really have a feel that people have missed us, and it feels really good.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed, Tuomas.
Thank you.